In the days when Jesus walked through Galilee, a man lay on a mat, unable to stand. His friends had heard that Jesus was in a house nearby, teaching the crowd. The doorway was blocked, and the room was full, but they would not turn back. They climbed the stairs to the roof, tore open the clay and branches above, and lowered their friend down before Jesus. The room fell silent. Many expected Jesus to heal the man's legs first. But Jesus looked at him with more tenderness than they had ever seen and said, "Son, your sins are forgiven." Some of the scribes were offended. Forgiveness belonged to God alone, they thought. But Jesus knew their thoughts. He said, "Which is easier, to say, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Rise and walk'? But that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins, then," he said to the paralytic, "I say to you, rise, pick up your bed, and go home." At once the man stood. His weak legs became strong. He lifted the mat that had carried him for so long and walked out before them all. The crowd was amazed, and many glorified God. Yet one man in the crowd did not rejoice. A neighbor named Ezra had watched the same friend ignore him for years. Years earlier, when Ezra had needed help in harvest time, the paralytic had refused him alone and spoken harshly. Ezra had carried that wound like a stone in his chest. Now he saw the man walking, healed and smiling, and his first thought was not joy, but memory. That evening Ezra could not sleep. He remembered how Jesus had spoken forgiveness before healing, as if the deeper wound mattered most. At last he went to the house where the healed man was staying. The man opened the door, and Ezra's anger rose again. But before Ezra could speak, the man bowed his head and said, "I was proud and hard-hearted. I sinned against you. Will you forgive me?" Ezra stood still. He had rehearsed a speech of accusation, but the man's humble words broke his anger open. He looked at the one who once had wounded him and remembered how Jesus had first spoken grace. Then Ezra said, "If Christ has forgiven you, then I will not hold this against you." They wept together, and the burden that had long chained both men began to loosen. Forgiveness did not pretend the wrong had never happened. It named the sin, honestly, but it refused to keep sin as a prison. Jesus had shown that forgiveness is not weakness, but holy mercy, not denial, but release. The man on the mat rose with new strength, and Ezra rose with a softer heart. The lesson is this: Jesus has authority to forgive sins, and those who have been forgiven by him must forgive others with truth and compassion, for forgive as the Lord forgave you.